Hi everyone, I thought I would do this page out of Magical Worlds by Johanna Basford. It feels quite April-like, although we're actually in May when this video goes out, but anyway, I'm sort of thinking April showers, but you know, May is fine. I thought it was quite cute, and someone had also actually asked me to do it because they were a little unsure as to how to colour it. So I thought we'd have a go. Now I'm going to be using my Pablo pencils, the Caran d'Ache, but don't fear because I do have comparison charts. So if you don't have these pencils, you can use similar ones from other sets if you want to match the colours. We're going to start, I think, with this long sort of tree trunk branch thing. So I am going to come in closer, although it sort of takes up the whole page, and just sort of move around a little bit. I think it will be more helpful to you if you can see a little bit more of what I'm doing. So I'm going to pick my first colour. I want a sort of mid-brown. I'm just looking at what we've got. I'm going to use the brown ochre. It's not too orangey, it's not too chocolatey. I think it'll work. I probably would have gone for a nougat or a sort of bistre type colour, brown ochre. In some sets there is I think there's a bistre in this set, but it's too dark. I'm thinking polychromos here. So let's just start by filling in the branch. Now this will not be my only colour on this tree branch, but this is my start. Now I want enough down so you can see the colour. So if for example I decided that I wasn't actually going to do another colour, it would be enough. That's the sort of amount of layering that I want. You can see I'm going back and forth a little bit just to get some intensity of colour down on the page. And we will just keep going. So I hope everyone's doing well. I'm getting quite excited about this book, thinking I'm getting closer to finishing it. I'm trying not to rush it because I always get really excited when I get close to finishing a book, and it can be really tempting to just whip through it. Do you know what I mean? Maybe you don't. Some people don't do that. I think it might just be a me thing. But I am getting closer to finishing other books, so I'm trying to sort of split myself between a selection of books. I've said this before, but you may not have seen the videos. This year I decided I wanted to finish one book a month, so I made a list of books that I wanted to finish, and they were by various different illustrators. So there's actually two Johanna Basfords, because there's this one and there's her yearly planner, which I always finish. This colour is awful. There's some brightness of my lamp. See, every time I try and brighten it, my camera adjusts to make it darker. I'm wondering whether, I don't know. But I've got to have the blind shut because the sun is all over the place. Anyway, I'm trying to sort out my lighting. My son reckons that if I did something in post-production, he was going to teach me to use a different editing software where I could brighten everything. The problem is that if it's darker, it's brighter here from where the lamp is to here. So if I brighten everything, this bit will be all glary. So I'm not really sure. I'm trying to sort it all out. I mean, this light was sold to me as one for doing this sort of recording and close work and things like that, but I'm not convinced it's the best. And I know some people say you should have a light either side, or you can have the really big, huge ones. And I did buy some really big, huge ones with big tripods, and I bought them, I got them home, switched them on, they worked. Went to switch them on again to record, and a bulb blew. And I was like, this is rubbish. So I just gave up, to be honest. I think maybe I should go to like a camera shop. There's, not in our town, but there's a Jessup's nearish by. They're always really experienced at this sort of thing. They might know. I don't know. I mean, other YouTubers who do this sort of thing. Now, I spoke to my son, and he said what happens is that most people record their videos using their Apple iPhone, and the cameras on the Apple phones are so good that they don't need to worry about lighting or anything like that. And despite the fact that I've got a camera and I spent quite a significant amount of money on it, it isn't as good, he says, as the cameras in an Apple phone. Now, I don't know if this is true, and I certainly don't want an Apple phone, unless I bought it solely as a camera. But then, how would I get the film off? Or would I have to edit on the camera, which would be horrible? I like a nice big screen. So it sort of opened up a lot of questions. I find Apple really difficult to use. And now I know people who love Apple say, oh, it's so simple, it's much easier than anything else. That's fair enough, but because I've never been used to using it, I've always been used to using Microsoft, and now Android is similar-ish. It does feel really hard because it's just really, really different, and I feel it's not intuitive for me because I've trained in a different way of doing things. You know, I remember when I first used an Apple Mac computer at university in the 1990s, not too long ago. Doesn't feel that long ago. Anyway, in order to eject your floppy disk, shh, I know, shush. You had to drag the icon of the floppy disk into the bin icon. And I'm like, if I did that if I pressed the bin icon in a Microsoft package, it would delete it. And I didn't want to delete it, and it just felt so counterintuitive and frankly frightening, because you think, I'm gonna delete it. Do you know what I mean? So I've used more modern Apple stuff as well, very briefly. My husband has to use it at work, and he says he doesn't buy it. Let's put it that way. He tries not to hate or love anything because he has to support it all because that's his job. But he never buys Apple, It's also so expensive. You pay so much for the brand name, It's like, oh. So I don't know if that's the right answer. So I am pondering and wondering, because I just find it so irritating that my videos just look so dark. And I just feel like if I could improve the quality a bit, it might make a huge difference for everybody. But my son's actually taking the day off today, so when we have lunch in about an hour's time, I might ask him about it and ask him to show me his editing software and what we can do with it. He says it's free, so that's always good, because although I don't mind paying for things if they're really good, if you're just trying something out and you're not sure, free is best. Do you know what I mean? But free trials, again, that's why they do it. But we'll see what happens, whether he's got any ideas, because it would be useful. And because he edits, he uses particular software, and he reckons, although I tried to use one that he'd sent me before and I didn't think it was any better. He said it will be much quicker. I said, it isn't. But we'll just wait and see and try out some things. But yeah, I went to town this morning with him, which was nice. He's having a day off. I said to him, you do need to leave the house at some point this week. You haven't left the house since Friday. It's Thursday today. And he said, yeah. And I said, I've got to go into town. I've got to drop a couple of bags off at the charity shop. I've got to pop in and pick up some paintings that I bought. And are you okay? And he's like, yeah, I'll come. And get some groceries. I completely forgot the one thing I really needed, which he thought was hilarious. But I didn't write it on the list. You know how it is. Anyway. It wasn't that urgent, but so we dumped a couple of bags at the charity shop, and then we hadn't picked up the paintings. I normally have a long chatter to the lady in the shop where I bought the paintings, but because he was with me, I was quick. I asked her how the exhibition went, and that was that. And didn't, sort of exchanged a few polite chatter, but but I didn't stay because he was moaning when we left the shop. It's a sort of, she has jewellery and knickknacks, pretty things, shiny things, things that I don't buy normally, but these paintings were nice. And I pop into the shop from time to time. I sometimes buy gifts in there rather than things for myself. And he was moaning. He said she had so many things hanging from the ceiling. I was knocking my head on everything. I've never noticed that she had things hanging from the ceiling before, but he obviously did, being 6'2" plus. With his very, he was wearing his pumps, which have got a sort of thickish sole, so he was even taller. It was quite funny. But because the university system is down for the next today and yesterday, for maintenance, he isn't able to do the mock exams that he'd planned on doing because they're up on the system. So he said he'd take today off and he would be working over the Easter weekend, which he's fine with. We don't sort of keep traditional holidays. I mean, the thing is, Easter weekend, you know, Good Friday, Easter Monday. My husband has Fridays and Mondays off work anyway, so it's made no difference to him whatsoever. I think it makes a bit of a difference to his pay and his holidays because other people get it as paid leave and he is on leave. They make it up to him somehow. I'm not really sure how. Sort of pro-rata it in or something. I don't really know. Right, I want to put a colour all the way around the edge of our branch to make it look more three-dimensional. And I will show you. I'm going to use the Van Dyke brown, so I want a darker brown basically. If you've got a Van Dyke brown or any sort of, that's really weird. My camera is highlighting this bit here as if it thinks it's a face, because my camera will focus in on faces, and it seemed to think this is a face. It doesn't look that, some things, you know, sometimes your eye is drawn to something that looks like a face, but my eye wasn't drawn to that. So for this narrow bit, I'm just going to put a line along the edge like that. And then I'm going to start on this side and do this bit as well. Now you can see here it's just joined up because it's so narrow. But as the branch opens out, you can see here it doesn't join up. And I'm just going to scumble it in a little bit to blend it into the colour that's there. So I don't want it to look like a line. I mean, it has to up here, we haven't got a lot of choice. But here, so as we go along the edge, I do a little bit more here. I just go to the end of the C and then do this lower bit up until about the same point. You don't have to be really accurate because we're going to be doing all of it. And then just gently sort of blend it into the colour that's there already, like that. So we've got like a lighter bit going down the middle, and what I hope that will do as we do it on all of it is make this look more rounded, like the pencil, rather than it's hard to show you the pencil because it's not actually round, rather than sort of flat. It just gives a slightly more three-dimensional look, but it also makes it look a little bit more interesting as well. And you don't have to. If it's a bit too much for you, a bit daunting, and you just want to colour it one colour, that's fine. You know, it's your work. And also, you know, it might make your hand ache too much, or you might just feel that if I have to go to that much effort, I'm just not going to do it at all because it's too daunting. Then just do it a way that works for you. You know, it's completely fine, and you may prefer it. You might prefer to put your colour sort of this way where these lines are instead. You know, you can just think about whether you had a different idea in mind for how to do this bit. You don't have to copy mine. I'm quite happy for you to, and for me to guide you if that's what you find easier. But if you want to throw in a bit of your own idea and imagination, or someone else's, if you've seen someone else's version of the picture or video or something like that, that's absolutely fine. The only thing I say is, if you are completely copying a video, to be honest, I'm not that fussy, but it is polite to, if you put it up on social media, just to say whose video you did it from, sort of thing, or who inspired you or whatever. That's a nice thing to do. As I say, I'm not that bothered, to be honest, myself, but some people do get a bit funny about it. And if it's someone who isn't doing this sort of thing, say somebody's just put their version of this picture up on Instagram, if you want to copy it, sometimes people like you to ask, or if you do it, just don't show it publicly without checking that they're okay with you doing it. Sometimes people are a bit, but I think it depends. If someone's like me, online a lot, teaching, showing techniques and things like that, they won't mind, because that's why they do it. They do it to help you. But if someone isn't doing that and they're just putting it up to show their own work, they might not like it. I have seen some people get a little bit funny saying, somebody reshared my work and I didn't like it. And they were like, well, did they credit you? And I was like, yeah. And it's sort of like, well, that is what people do online. But they thought it was wrong and it was copying. And it's like, it's not really, if they... You know, so you need to be a little bit careful. Some people are more sensitive than others, a bit more touchy. I try to always just, you know, be a little bit mindful of that. Especially these days, I think, you know, people are not living in an easy world at the moment with various things happening. And even just life, you know, expectations on us are huge. You know, we're expected to, particularly women, you know, work, earn money, look after the children, look after the house, look good, smile, not get ill, you know, all those things. Stay fit, stay healthy, eat the right things, feed your kids the right things, feed your husband the right things. It gets a bit much sometimes, so be kind to yourself and to others. I always think, we always used to have the treat people as you'd like to be treated thing, but nowadays I think some people really don't treat themselves very well, and if they treated other people like they treated themselves, things would be awful. So I think we need to maybe reverse that and say, treat yourself like you would treat other people, because I think some people really get really down on themselves, don't respect themselves very much. I think it's quite sad. But I think it is a factor of modern life where we're bombarded with images of perfect people, perfect lives, you know, and the pressure, it's just silly. And I think it is on men as well as women. I don't know much about being a man, funnily enough, so I'm not sure, but I think there is pressure on men. There's pressure still, which is really sad, a lot of pressure on men to not show their emotion, to just get on with life and not let it get them down. And of course it does. They're just the same as women, really. I mean, and you know, I think the pressures are different, and it's tricky. But I'm going to have a little bit of time off, I think, this afternoon. Maybe I'll have to wait till this evening, because my son's here and working. I also feel like I need to show a good impression and get on. But I've got some painting, actually, that I need to do. I might do that. Painting as in painting the walls of the house, not as in painting a picture. I can't do that. We had our new solar inverter put in yesterday, very successfully, lovely, and it's sunny today, so that's really good. We're actually making more electricity than we're using, so it's great. And so we had that put in, but it's smaller and has less cabling and wiring and things, so it looks so much neater. But of course, where the last ones were, had the hallway painted since they were put up, and so it looks a bit of a mess. I have got some of the paint, so that's great, but I've got to somehow try to make it work, because the rest of the hallway hasn't been... I don't want to do the whole... Let me explain. I'm not explaining myself very well. The inverter is at the bottom of the stairs by the front door, and I need to paint around that area, but I don't want to paint all the way up the stairs and then I have to go up and up and up. So I just want to do that little area and patch it up. And I don't think the wall is that clean to the side of it, so I'm a little bit nervous about doing that. But even if it isn't that good, it's gonna look better than it does now, because basically underneath where the old wiring and inverter and things were, not only is the wall really dirty from dust, which I tried to clean off, there's a bit more I need to do cleaning wise first. It's been filled. The chappie who put the inverter in filled all the holes in the wall that were left, so that was good. So there's white, and then the old paint underneath was a colour called ivory lace, which was like a off-white. And the new colour is cream. I mean, my neighbour said to me today it's magnolia, but for me, magnolia has a bit of peach in. I really don't like it. I like the pure yellowy cream colour, which is what it is. It's called buttermilk. And I've got some, so I need to just do it and try and sort of feather it into the old paint and fiddle it a bit and not splodge it everywhere and not get it. Ugh. I'm not very good at painting and keeping things clean and tidy, so that's a bit of a worry. I haven't got a painting dust sheet, I don't think, because I used to have one and I stupidly left it in the garage in an open box, and at that time I had no draft exclusion on the bottom of the garage door, and all the leaves would blow under the door, and they all blew all over the dust sheet, so I don't have one. But I could put some newspaper down. I don't think I've got any. So here is my tree trunk. I'm going to come out so you can see all of it, even though my lamp is in shot. That's what it is. Oh, I just changed the setting on my lamp. Hang on. That's the whiter one. I think the whiter light's better. So there is the tree trunk. Now in here you could brighten it even more on the central part and use a yellow, or like a ochre or a golden ochre or something like that, but I'm quite happy with that as it is. I think that's fine. I think we will do this sort of vine next, so let's come in a little closer again. Now we've got quite the choice of greens in this set, but I rather like, there's the olives. Really, there isn't actually such a good choice of greens. There's olive greens and bluey greens and about 2 or 3 mid greens. So I'm going to use olives. I'm going to use the khaki green. Trying to find it. Is it here? Maybe that's it. The pencil that's turned the wrong way. Yeah. So this is the khaki green, and I'm going to use that for the vine, and then for the base of the leaves. And then we'll use a slightly different colour for the tips. A slightly lighter, more yellowy colour, I think. So I'm just sort of letting this green colour just sort of fade off. Yeah, the TV show I've been watching is called Stacey and Joe. It's a reality TV show, and I just thought it looked really good from the trailers, and I don't normally watch these sort of fly on the wall, here are some people at home, celebrities at home and what they do. And I realised what it is that has attracted me to the TV programme. Now, I didn't realise this until yesterday, but he has got ADHD like my husband, and she doesn't, and sort of struggles to keep up with everything and sort him out at the same time. And this week's episode, he he talks about his ADHD. I didn't know he had it, but I think that bit of branch needs doing. That the reason it appealed to me was because subconsciously I realised that he was acting in the same way as my husband does at times, and that's, I can sort of really relate to her and having to cope with it, sort of thing. So I'm going back to my brown ochre because this is a little bit of branch that I've missed. So I'm just going to fill that in completely. And then again with the vandyke brown, I'm going to sharpen it because it's a really small bit of branch. So vandyke brown, and just go around it like that. So I think that's why I've been finding it so fascinating. I am going to use the light olive or olive yellow, light olive I think. The light olive for finishing off these little leaves now. I'm going to give it a sharpen and try to just make them a little more vibrant on the tips. Yeah, there we go. But things like how she left him a list of jobs while she went out working, and when she came back he'd started 2 jobs and not finished them, but they weren't ones that were on the list. I'm like, yep, that sounds familiar. He leaves things to the last minute, gets distracted, has these big ideas and all these things. I'm like, I so relate to that. You know, it's interesting. You know, me having a sort out at the moment, I can sort of see all the old hobbies and things that he's bought and that sort of thing. You know, I'm only getting rid of things that are mine, that are solely mine, because he finds getting rid of things really, really stressful. So the reason I'm having a clear out, before I finish this section of branch, obviously I need to do these leaves. I realise that I'm going to put a little bit of shadow underneath these vines just to make them stand out a little bit more. It's just a little finicky fiddly detail. I'm going to use the sepia. It's a really, really dark brown. I think it will give us a really nice shadow, but want it really sharp. I'm going to start at the bottom because I think this one's easier. Down here, and I'm just going to put some underneath here like this, and we can go under the leaf a bit as well, just to create that little bit of shadow. I'm just going to do a bit there and there, and it will hopefully just make that stand out a little bit from the tree, so it doesn't look like it's glued on the tree. It looks like it's its own independent thing. Good word, thing. I might do it at the top a little bit too, and behind them I might just do the top of that one. Yeah, so I'm not, because he's very, it's his stuff, it's not mine, and because people say to me, oh, why don't you just get rid of this and get rid of that, and I'm like, it isn't mine. I can't, it's disrespectful just throwing away people's stuff. But I'm just hoping that if I start doing some, then I can create a bit more space, but also he might have a go as well, but well, anyway. But yeah, it's, but I just feel nice, because I used to think, right, he isn't getting rid of anything, why should I, and I just hold on to stuff. But now I'm like, no, actually there isn't a need to hold on to everything. You know, it's not all valuable stuff. You know, I opened a drawer and there was some sort of charcoal set bought from Wilko, kiddie set, that hadn't even been opened, and I've got even no idea where it came from. And I showed it to my sister and said, would this be useful for your son's art? And she said, actually, we've got all of those things now, because you know, he needed to buy charcoal and stuff, I remember, but it's too late. But she said, it's probably something I bought for your kids. I was like, oops. She was fine about it. She was like, just get rid of it. Charity, you know, someone will like it. But I don't know. I've got to ask husband if it's his first, you know, or if he wants it. You probably won't, but I don't, you know, need to be respectful. Right, that is all I'm going to do today. We've done half an hour, I've whittled on. I was going to do the leaves as well, and I decided I would wait because I think it's quite a good length of a video to leave it here. And we'll come back and do some more, and it'll be 2, 3, no, sort of 3, 4 videos, maybe a bit more, I'm not sure. But we'll do some green leaves. I've got a little snail, and then we'll sort of work on this. I've got to decide whether I'm going to do sort of fantasy colours for the houses or whether they're going to be a bit more neutral. I've got to think about really what do I want to be the focal point of the picture. Not this. This is just our frame, so that's not going to be anything. It's just going to be green. But do we want to focus on the cloud, on the rain, on the houses? What's going to be our, or the boat? You know, so is it going to stand out, or are we just going to make everything look similar? That's the sort of questions that are going through my head as I'm looking at this right now, and we'll see how it pans out. By the time I come to the next video, I might have completely forgotten about all these ideas and just do something completely different. But we'll see. But thank you for watching today. I do hope that you have a really super day, and happy colouring.